I think morphic resonance underlies the inherence of form and instinct. Now, it's called morphic resonance because everything in nature is vibratory: atoms, electrons, light, everything in nature. And we ourselves have many different rhythms: biochemical rhythms, heartbeat, breathing rate, brain waves, sleeping cycles.
Yes.
Every organism is a composite of many different kinds of rhythm, and the resonance is between these rhythmic patterns of organization. And what I'm suggesting is that the so-called laws of nature are more like habits. In Western science, as a hangover from the philosophy of Plato and Pythagoras in ancient Greece, there's the idea that all the laws of nature are completely fixed from the beginning, that they never change. So in the context of the Big Bang theory, the assumption is that all the laws of nature suddenly appeared at the moment of the Big Bang, like a kind of cosmic Napoleonic code. Whereas I'm suggesting that the so-called laws of nature are really habits, and that they evolve along with nature. There's a kind of memory in all nature, even in crystals and atoms. And this is a testable theory. It means if you train rats to learn a new trick in Delhi, for example, then rats in London and New York and Melbourne, Australia, should learn the same trick quicker just because the rats have learned it in Delhi. And there's already evidence that this rather surprising prediction actually happens. I have to say that when I was living in India, although in England, when I proposed this idea, I met with blank incomprehension or open hostility. When I talked to my Hindu friends in India, I got the exact opposite reaction. Instead of saying, well, this is an amazing new idea, they usually said, oh, there is nothing new in this idea. Ancient rishis have said this thousands of years ago. But then when I tried to persuade them that it would be good to take it seriously and try and test it scientifically, then my Hindu scientific colleagues were less keen because they didn't want to do anything unconventional. They didn't want to lose their jobs, and they wanted to please their professors and that sort of thing. So no one actually was prepared to do anything about it. But sitting back in their chairs, in a discussion, and they were very happy to say, yes, of course, this is a well-known idea. Anyway, my point is to turn it into a scientific hypothesis and test it scientifically. And it's already had quite a number of tests, so far so good. But it's still wildly radical in the context of conventional science, and therefore highly controversial, difficult to get funding, and people are put off doing research on it because they're afraid that they'll lose their jobs or damage their careers or their reputations. Not unreasonably, because I myself have been attacked furiously by angry defenders of materialism. So I can understand why people are afraid. But sooner or later, I think that this idea will be properly tested. And I think it almost has to be true. I just can't believe that the laws of nature suddenly arbitrarily appeared at the moment of the Big Bang. And in the multiverse theory, each multiverse would have to have its own laws of nature. So even if people think laws of nature are endowed, each universe is endowed with the laws at the beginning and they're all fixed, they've still got to explain how they're remembered in that particular universe. There's a huge area of debate and discussion here, which is still going on.